Okay, namaste, beloveds. This is Valerie Ames, aka Mother Wit, and this is the second video. The first video was Aquarius, the rebirth of the observer, and I advise you to watch it first um, before you watch this one. And these are all lunar influenced um, downloads, transmissions, messages, whatever um, it's easier. Excuse me for fidgeting. Let me ground. Whatever is easier for you to um, expand your conscious awareness with, whatever words are more inviting to you. So let me get to this. This video. This is the second video. Um, is the phase two, the wisdom of self-inquiry. 1. Wisdom slash pure consciousness, pure conscious awareness, or the first light, separated itself from all the possibilities that existed, all the possibilities, lesser lights, that existed in the darkness of the abyss. Let me say that again. Wisdom, pure conscious awareness, which is the first light. Wisdom is the first light. Wisdom is pure conscious awareness. Pure conscious awareness has no doubts. It has no questions. It is wisdom personified. Okay? So understand the difference between wisdom and logic. These are polarities. Logic depends upon certain rules and relativities and this and that and boxes and this and that, and everything has to fit just right before it will work, and it has to be interpreted a certain way, and it has to be received a certain way, and it has to be digested a certain way, and it has to be accepted a certain way by so many experiences. Wisdom is not that. Wisdom is the observer who has already observed, who already knows. You cannot teach wisdom anything. You cannot show wisdom anything. Wisdom is the way shower. Wisdom is the leader. Wisdom is the guide. Wisdom is the highest form of conscious awareness. Let me keep moving forward because I'll get into that as I move forward. And I want you to pay special attention um, to where it was said, pure conscious awareness or wisdom, who was the first light, separated herself from all the possibilities, which were the lesser lights, which were everything else in the abyss. The abyss was a womb that held everything. It was a void. It had no beginning and no end. Its depths could not be measured. It has, like I said, no age, so you can't say, well, it started here and it started there and this and this and this. No. You can't say that, well, it's here or it's there. No. That's logic. You cannot compute wisdom with human logic. Can't do it. So, what you need to do is to accept the fact that in every cosmology, every story, oral or written, myth or legend. In every religion, a separation took place. Wisdom separated herself. And why did she do that? Because while in the abyss, she had observed everything that there was to observe. She had absorbed everything that there was to absorb. She had learned everything that could be learned. And so we don't know how many aeons this conscious awareness known as wisdom remained in that womb, in that void. But there came a time when she separated herself. And in that separation, light, wisdom was light. She rose out of the darkness. The darkness not being a bad thing. The darkness being everything that ever was and ever will be. And wisdom was born from that. She gave birth to herself, you could say, because she observed. And then she found out how to do that. And then she was born. And from her birth, she began to create multiverses of herself. And from the separation itself, change was born. Multiverses were born. Different beings, different times, different energies, different planets, different star systems, different galaxies, different universes, different universal laws. All of this was created. All of these multiple things that appear multiple, but are truly just one. Two, war, doubt, chaos broke out because of this. So what happened after wisdom left the abyss? War, doubt, chaos broke out because of this, meaning the abyss wanted her back. The abyss didn't want to change. And what was in the abyss now doubted itself because it was different. And it went to war because it wanted to make her come back. It wanted to enforce its will upon her. And wisdom had her own will. And again, beloveds, this is just me giving this to you in story form. There are so many different interpretations of this. There's so many different ways this can be received, transmitted, transformed, and transmuted. How you do it is up to you, but it's coming through this vehicle, this vessel known as Mother Wit Valerie Ames. 3, wisdom removed doubt from the highest realms of kingdoms of conscious awareness, meaning that wisdom won the war. She removed doubt from the highest realms and kingdoms of conscious awareness. So doubt was kicked out. There was no more doubt. Doubt could not exist in the realm of wisdom's conscious awareness. It could not breathe. It could not live. It could not grow. It could not survive. Could not be. 4, the rebellious energies created space and the concept of time as we know it. When doubt did not have a place in wisdom's conscious awareness, it gave birth to lesser forms of lights or times and spaces or multiverses. Okay? So that it could process. It didn't want to just not exist. It's going to exist. So it created its own ways of observing and being outside of wisdom. And we call it logic or the mind. Part 2, the observer is the divine feminine wisdom, which is present in all, has no beginning nor end, is the highest frequency, spectrum, dimension, God, ruler, state of conscious awareness that gave birth to unconditional love. And I have on here that unconditional love is masculine, which blew me away. Okay, because all this time, me with my divine feminine goddess loving self have wanted to make unconditional love be feminine. But unconditional love is androgynous, but it is mostly masculine. This is where God the Father comes in. Because wisdom is the throne. And she said, come on, you be the king, unconditional love. You rest on me, you sit on me. My wisdom will hold you and support you. That's how that goes. Anything that has a beginning will have an ending. Universal law cannot be manipulated. Time is expanded by the existence of experience, and experience is expanded by existence. That's deep. I'll say it again. Anything that has a beginning will have an ending. Universal law cannot be manipulated. Time is expanded by the existence of experience, vice versa. Existence is expanded by experience. Stop clinging to the romantic notions of this world's religions. What existed before your version was born. So, with self-inquiry, the observer is teaching us or sharing with us or showing us the way that will enable us to stop clinging to the romantic notions and the addictions and the attachments to the world's religions, governments, histories, and so forth. And in order to back that up as to why, wisdom, why? She says, what existed before your version was born? What existed before your version of his story was born? What existed before your religion was born? What existed before your interpretation of existence was born? What existed before that? You putting all your faith in that, and that has changed and will change again. What is the wisdom in putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak? Putting your hope and faith and trust and love in something that had a beginning. If it had a beginning, it's going to have an ending. So do not get attached to these things. Do not become so indoctrinated in logic that you cannot hear or observe wisdom. When you do that, you take yourself off that seat of conscious awareness and unconditional love, and you create your world. And you get Universal laws say what you put out there in that world, that's what you're going to get back. Observing the attainment, birth of higher wisdom as above, so below. Observation of chaos is needed to create wisdom. Wisdom is never separate from chaos. They are one frequency that has to be mastered in order to restore rebirth and balance. So now this puts the whole wisdom separated herself from the abyss into understanding that is just like being in a womb and that baby being connected to the womb by the umbilical cord. But yet when that mother and that baby are one being. But once that umbilical cord is cut, they become two beings. The baby, once it's born, breathes on its own, begins to think for itself, begins to use its own heart and its own digestion and its own legs and its own feet and its own eyes and its own senses. It becomes its own vessel, its own vehicle, its own observer of wisdom. And so you have to understand the mind is the chaos. And the mind is the manipulator of the identity that you've been programmed with or conditioned with. Whatever is in your programming or conditioning, the mind is going to use that as its team of stallions to drive you. And that reference is in the first video if you need to refresh yourself with that. But this, like I said, is so deep. And it is these lunar downloads that are really, at this time, really blowing my mind and really clarifying so much, beloveds. Okay. That has to be mastered. The chaos and wisdom has to be mastered in order to restore or rebirth balance. So when you're looking into the mirror, you're looking at wisdom, and wisdom is looking back at you. Okay? And you have to realize that what's outside that mirror is the chaos. That's the world you live in. What's inside that mirror is the observer, what sees you. And you have to reconcile both of them into one consciousness in order to give birth to balance, or to restore balance, or become one again, to become whole, to become holy. Observing today's division, the wisdom of thriving beyond surviving of the fittest. Dog eat dog, drink and be merry, do what thou will, because tomorrow we die logic. Contrasted by racial, political, religious, economic division, contrasted by the infrastructure. Let me start this again, because as you can see, beloveds, my notes have notes. There is no order. You just have to decipher. So let me do this again. Observing today's division, and this is speaking of what has happened globally, but specifically in the United States, where I am, since this is, my seat of observance, where my frequencies are at this moment. Observing today's division, the wisdom of thriving beyond survival of the fittest. Dog eat dog, eat, drink, and be merry, do what thou will, because tomorrow we die logic. Contrasted by the infrastructure, contrasted by the wisdom infrastructure of unity. You have the division of racial, political, religious, and economic values, morals, ethics, rules, laws that have that say they are dealing with unity but do not. We do not experience that. It does not reflect or mirror what it says that it stands for. And so, because it is lying, we deal with the chaos. And the wisdom in us is saying, observe, see, do you see? Do you see? Connect the dots. This isn't new, this is a pattern. Can you see? Do you see? Look, this happened 10 years ago. This happened 20 years ago. This happened 30 years ago. This happened 100 years ago. This happened 3 ages ago. This happened 4 worlds ago when there were dinosaurs and this and that and the world of Mu and Atlantis and this and this and that and this and all of this. Look. See? Can you see it? Stop being so distracted. Focus. Tell the mind to get out the car. Get out the chariot, mind. You're not driving. You're not side. You're not riding shot. Get out. Get out on the side of the road, okay? Make your own way home. You know the way. Synchronize your team. Envision the track, the racetrack. Be aware of your other drivers. Be aware of your team. Individually, know their strengths. Know their strengths as a collective. Know their weaknesses as individuals and as a team in the collective. Always keep your focus. Something is going on. I hope this is still recording. Okay. Let me finish, beloveds. Russia and all authoritarian dictatorships wish to enslave wisdom, rape her, diminish her, dominate her, kill her children, make a stance of dominance. The Jews will not replace us. The Jews equal rainbow warrior children. The Jews equal those who are able to drive the chariots and not just the spectators in the stand, but the actual drivers themselves, those that are putting together teams and crews or whatever you want to call them, those that are synchronistic enough, those who have mastered the balance of gathering these different forces, these different bodies, and being able to mobilize them as one. And the word authoritarian dictatorships and the dictator. And this dictator, what is unconditional love is absent in the dictator. Unconditional love does not exist in authoritarian regime, mindset, conscious awareness. It is totally narcissistic. It is totally so immature that it can only think of itself and its own desires and fantasies and needs. And when it does not get its way, it becomes what it is, which is the opposite of unconditional love. It becomes fear, it becomes violent in order to get its way. And it doesn't care who it hurts because it is hurt from what it imagines is the separation from unity, from wisdom. Bounties, this is the last part of this. And beloveds, I don't know why this keeps coming up in my spirit, but it is, so I'm going to speak on it. With everything that's going on in the United States today, with Donald Trump and with Russia and with the United Emirates right now, and with those that have died in between this. What are all of these things? What is wisdom showing us by having us view this in the mirror of our existence? If this is our existence, and our conscious awareness, which is wisdom, is saying, what do you see? What is there that needs to be received, that needs to be transmitted, that needs to be transformed, and that needs to be transmuted? What do you see? The guidance is there. What we see and what is being shown to us is division. Those that doubt and those that know. Those that long for chaos, death, destruction, the survival kind of thing. And those that wish to thrive in peace and unconditional love and knowing who they are without a doubt. And this is what is clashing. And this is the as above, so below war, or states of consciousness, the ascending and the descending, the purification, the separating, taking yourself out of that kind of existence and giving birth to a new existence. That's what the Aquarian age is all about. What keeps coming up, beloveds, was the bounties placed on the soldiers by the Russians. And the soldiers that I'm speaking of specifically were in Africa. And there was a confrontation, a big hoop-de-hoo with Trump and the widow, the soldier's wife, about his body and about his passing. And they were ambushed, which means, as we have learned, that bounties were placed on these individuals by Russia. And that bounty was collected, and they were murdered, they were assassinated, they were executed. And upon returning his body home and speaking with his wife, 45, Donald Trump, said the words, he knew what he signed up for. That's how he comforted this widow, this young widow, who had just lost her husband and the father of her child. This black woman, this black womb. He knew what he signed up for. He didn't sign up to be sold out and executed by a rat, by a traitor. But wisdom says, observe. Don't get caught up in the emotions of it. Existence exists. Look at how it is existing. Look at how chaos exists. Look at how peace exists. Choose what you prefer. For some, it's not that hard. For others, it is a struggle because the mind makes it so. And when I say the mind makes it so, I want you to understand that different reactions in your biological body produces hormones and endorphins and electrical currents and stimulation and all kinds of things. And we get programmed by those things. And even if it doesn't feel good, that's still what we're programmed and conditioned to like, to experience, in order to feel, in order to be present, in order to know that we exist. It's just like the monkeys running through the mazes and all the experiments done on them. It's no different with us, beloveds. Observe. Wisdom observes. The other one was the dismembering of the journalists. That was done from the logic of the mind, not from wisdom. That was done from doubt and fear that things would change and that you could make it. By doing this, you could make it remain the same, that you have the power over existence to keep things a certain way. Robbing and stealing in the name of your own survival is narcissistic. Cancer to the individual as well as the collective. Robbing, stealing, lying, cheating, betrayal of allies in the name of your own survival is narcissistic, is immature, because, beloveds, we're all under universal law. So what you're doing is just creating a loop. You're creating a cycle and a season of suffering that is going to play itself out. And you, because you gave birth to it, you have karmic debt to it. You are attached to it. You are going to, it's going to come back on you. So understand how we have all these notions of what victory is and what winning is, and existence exists, and we are here to observe it. And this is the second phase in our conscious awareness of our self-inquiry. Who am I? I am that I am. What is that? I am the observer. Phase 2. Season 2. Cipher 2. Aquarian age. I am the observer. Think of filling the fishbowl. Not only being the fish looking out, but also those watching the fish. We are all one. Okay, that is going to do it for this. Phase 2, the wisdom of self inquiry. Wisdom is pure conscious awareness, separating itself from the possibilities, the lesser lights that existed in the darkness of the abyss. War, doubt, chaos broke out because of this. Wisdom removed doubt from the highest realms, kingdoms of conscious awareness, and that is where we are. The observer is divine feminine wisdom, which is present in all, has no beginning nor end, is the highest frequency spectrum, God, ruler, state of conscious awareness that gave birth to unconditional love. So that is the sun that wisdom gave birth to. That sun is unconditional love. That masculine is unconditional love. And when that masculine realizes himself outside as wisdom and not logic, as one with wisdom, the divine feminine, and not at war with her, everything will change in existence. In every aspect, kingdom, multiverse, so forth and so on. This is where we are in the fluidity of this time, this age. Namaste, beloveds, and that is going to do it for this video. And I'm going to pull some cards to just kind of cement some things and bring some more wisdom into this from other areas other than just me. So here we go, beloveds. Stay tuned.